Alright, I think we're live. Yeah, done a lot since my last time. Let me just check the mic. Mic's good. Audio looks fine. Yeah. Okay. Now one thing I forgot to do. Forgot to turn on this light. It's not quite so dark in here. Plus you gotta like the blue and orange. It's like I planned it that way. Alright, so what have I been working on? Quite a bit. I made a note of all the stuff I've done. This is everything I've done. And right now I've been working on dynamic lighting. And I think I've got it figured out. I just I haven't tweaked it yet. So I watched a tutorial. I watched three. One of them was not really vibing. The other one seemed really good, but it was just way too complicated for what I'm trying to do. Like it was a lot of stuff. It was like making lights to where they don't go around corners and all kinds of stuff, and I don't really need any of that because I just really need a basic light source on something. So I found another one. I will show it because what I should do, shout them out, you know. So Game Maker Cast. This is a new one. I've never used his before, but he has a dynamic lighting tutorial in here somewhere. That was, you just search it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be using. It was very simple. It's so simple that I even understand it. So it's good enough for me. That's what we're going to be using. But before that, let's look at all the other stuff I've done. Alright, so I did traffic. We showed that. That was the last thing I was working on, right? It wasn't too much different from what I showed before. Basically, just we create this thing. It's make changes based on its sprite, which honestly, this is completely unnecessary. I think I could have just said image index equals one of these things, so this is all redundant. I could fix that, but it's too late. I've come too far. State set to action 1. Speed is usually just 1. I set an angle and a direction so that it's facing the correct direction when it's created, at least somewhat. Image blend is a random color, mostly in the brighter colors, and then it's X and Y is where it's supposed to be spawned. And then it just goes through these different actions. It moves towards a point at its speed, and once it is close to that point within its speed, it will shift over to the next action. And keeps doing that until whatever it does. In the case of this one, it destroys itself, and I've got it being spawned in the world map spawner. So we have a new one, highway timer in target. And then in here, I put highway timer, same thing. It creates, and it has like % chances of each one of these getting created. So there's some variance. Some of them are permanent on the screen. Some of them are just like highway stuff that constantly create cars. So we'll take a look at traffic real quick. I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Oh, okay, that's a spoiler. But you didn't see it, so it doesn't matter. Let me, right, that was the dynamic lighting I've been working on. I need to change rooms, not that one. This one. I need to go to the world map. No, try that again. Alright. Another thing I did, it's after I did the traffic, I did these little icons for the special areas you can go into, and they work now, so if I click on that, it's going to be the port, and anything else is going to be the sea, which is a lot better because now I can just put like one big box over everything that's the shallows, and then it'll prioritize the things that are in the icons first. And the idea is to have the icons kind of like get revealed as you have the right item. And once you go over it, it's there. There's a car up there at the top. So yeah, this is one of the highways, the top highway. They come from here, they stop at almost every intersection, and then they drive off screen. Pretty simple there. I got a couple like parked cars around. They're random. So there's a few that like spawn here. I think there's one that spawns like here. But we just didn't roll them. They're kind of hard to see, but they're there. I don't know. At least it shows that there's more vehicles on the map. If you look closely enough, there's a couple of them in these parking spaces here and here. The cars that were here in that parking lot are probably driven off already. And then here's the highway, the busy highway. And this one just uses those randoms to create 2 lanes of traffic. Pretty nice. I've got the headlights and the taillights on right now because I plan on doing the dynamic lighting soon. And I'll end up doing something to where if it's daytime, those lights won't be on. But it's nice to see that they're facing the correct direction and see it working. Okay. So that was the icons, these things. What else is there? Let me look at my notes. So, oh yeah, suit upgrade and stuff. I forgot it. It's been a while. It's only been 2 days, but I've done a lot of stuff. So, I think it'll fix. Yeah, okay. So when I go in here, now we're gonna have a special entrance when you go into the stage. So I set that up, and I also made the upgrade for the suit, the upgrade for the submarine, and I have the special entrances for those. I did the bullets and the torpedoes and the explosions on them. So there's a lot of new stuff with the player when I go in here. But you see, it does a little backflip, and then after he lands is when the everything spawns. There's clouds now. That was another thing I had. You'll see some at the top. But if I go ahead and upgrade, this is the suit. Goes around. I haven't done like any particle effects or something, but it's supposed to have like little propulsion bubbles or something later. Yeah, that works. If you get hit, well, I'll do it because it's going to end. That's how it drops out. If you get hit by an enemy, which sadly these enemies don't actually deal damage. So I'm gonna exit and we'll get another one. There we go. If you get hit, it gets destroyed, all the pieces fall off, and you go back to this one. That works great. Now let's upgrade. Upgrade. This is the sub. It's pretty big, and I guess I'm okay with it. I think it kind of has to be this big. It does increase the hitbox a lot, but it's also just very strong. It shoots all these torpedoes. Super bunch of bullets. It's a lot faster. And when it gets destroyed, and that's how it comes down, when it gets destroyed, it cracks open like an egg, and the suit pops out. So that's cool. I like it. I'm pretty happy with the way all this turned out. Pretty neat. Okay. What else is there? So that was the suit upgrade, suit destruction, the bullets, sub upgrade, destruction, bullets. I tried making pausing. I know 2 ways to do pausing, and I tried both, but there's problems with both of them to where it wasn't working. I was making pausing because when for these entrances, I wanted to pause the game and have the like the player come out of the boat or whatever. I ended up having to do it a different way, as you saw, where I just don't spawn anything until the player's in where they're supposed to be, and then I spawn everything. But yeah, I tried pausing, it wasn't working out. So the two types of pausing I know, one is like if global pause and use like a global pause key or whatever. You just say like exit a script. So you put this at the very top of a step event, and if pause is ever on, it'll just exit the script and nothing will run. The only problem with that is that alarms will still run. So you also have to do like alarm 0 or if, and you have to do this for every alarm. If it's not equal to -1, alarm 0 plus plus. If you do this, then as if alarm 0 is on, then it will add +1 to the alarm, which basically just keeps resetting it back to whatever it happens to be at. So that's one way you can turn alarms off with like a pause like this. But the the one that's ruins everything is that if you use anything with like move to point, move, yeah, to point or move in direction, basically anything that has a speed assigned to it, then that won't pause with this. It'll still keep moving. So the way to turn that off would be just saying if speed is a positive, then speed equals 0. But some of my code setting it to 0 means it just turns it off. And you have to reset it to move in the direction it is going if you want the pause key to work. So it's not really viable if you don't plan ahead for it. And I did not plan ahead for it. So that was one way of pausing. The other way of pausing, this one's a little more, it's just a different thing. Let's see. So you do this. So instance deactivate all, but the thing with this is this deactivates everything. So except for whatever object has activated it, as long as you put true here. If you put false, it will just deactivate everything. If you put true, it'll deactivate everything but the object you're in, but it'll still deactivate anything you're drawing. So you have to like draw a picture or something to get like a screen. You can't really like, you can't pause everything and then add new stuff on top of it easily. I really thought it was just something like you pause everything and then you start building on top, like your pause screen stuff, but it doesn't really work like that. At best you can just like take a picture, or it gets more complicated if you want to do more than that. So it works, and the cool thing about this is it pauses absolutely everything. Speed, alarms, everything gets stopped, but kind of pauses too much also. So I tried both of those. None of them really worked well with what I have. So I found another solution, which was, we'll go to shallow spawner. All I did was I pushed all the stuff that was at the bottom, I threw it in a step event, and I made a global spawn. And basically, when the player is in the position that he's ready for this level to start, he says that global spawn equals true. And then once that's true, global spawn gets turned right back off, and then all this activates. So it'll spawn everything that needs to be spawned in the stage. I've got like a cloud, one for clouds. I put it on alarm. All the stuff for like enemies and stuff. So basically, if I don't want enemies to spawn, well, I can spawn them when I want to using this, and that was a lot easier than trying to pause the game. Cool. So spawn variable, yeah, that was what I talked about. Player entrances, we saw those. Parallax, I tried to get parallax working. I do have like some camera controls for that, but my previous parallax only worked for normal backgrounds, and I tried to get them working for like instances. I thought it might be the same, but it didn't seem to work. It might, and it's just the because my camera only goes up and down, maybe the code doesn't work for it. And at the end of the day, I just figured that it's really not adding much to have the ground move a bit, because there's no side scrolling and it's just vertical. I don't think it really was worth doing, so I just scrapped it and said screw it. There's clouds, and now we're on dynamic lighting. Okay, so this is how dynamic lighting is working. Close that. So this is actually pretty simple. We have this object light render, which I'm probably going to put into like my camera object or something, and I'll combine them. But this just sets this lighting surface to equal -1, and then it does a bunch of drawing stuff. It sees if the lighting surface exists and then creates a surface. Right now it's based on the room width and the room height, but I can change it to be only the view if I need to increase performance. We set the surface target, draw clear alpha, so this is the thing that goes on top, which this is just a big black box that goes over top. I'm thinking I might try and adjust this to where it's actually a hue shader, so it's not just black, but I can shift into like dark blue and purple, which usually looks better. I'm gonna try that out. I don't know if that'll actually work, or yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but I'd like to give it a shot. And then you just put in all your light sources, and right now I've got 3 light sources. Most of these are just for testing, but the basic light source is I had to draw a few new sprites, which are these. No, that's the light. Where's the sprites? Here we go. So I drew these sprites, which are just a basic circle, one that's a bit smaller. I did a one that's just a cone, and one that's a bigger cone. So my idea is the suit will use the big cone, the normal scuba will use this one like it's a flashlight. So like flashlight, big lamp, and then I'll use a circle for the sub, so your ability to see in the dark gets better with upgrades. That's the idea. Alright, back into the light render. So this makes a variable for making the light wobble, and the wobble is based on an X and a Y, and it just adjusts the image's X and Y scale by a very small amount. You set wobble in the object itself, which is kind of cool. I didn't know. I guess it's using this width, and I don't use this width much, but this is like, yeah, using width is adjusting everything in this object without having to be in the object, which is pretty nifty. GPU set blend mode. I've never used this before, but I kind of get it. Blend mode subtract. This is removing things. Then we're going to remove, based on the wobble, the sprite that this thing is, this light source, which is just the circle. This. So it's just, it's okay. So basically, we drew a box, a black box, pure black box, and then we subtracted this picture off of it. So it's gone now. And now we're adding the picture back onto it. So basically we cut out a circle and then we stamped a like a blended object over top of it. And then this last one's for like adding color to it, which I need to adjust this a bit, but the color seems to be too powerful sometimes. I don't know. I'm still kind of working on that, adjusting these values. But it seems like if you add too much color, you have to raise the intensity, which kind of blocks the image that you're trying to draw. I guess the way to get around that is I make a circle that has more opacity in the center. Maybe I'll have to do that. And then, yeah, set blend mode back to normal. And then, yeah, just copy and paste, do this for each one. So I put a circle that's around the player, And then I did a cone. It's kind of like a flashlight for the player. And then reset the surface and draw the surface. That's pretty much all that does. The light sources themselves have a lot of new stuff. The creation, there's nothing in here. I just wrote a bunch of notes for myself. So this sprite is the shape of the light source. You have to turn off its visible. So you don't actually want to be able to see this sprite. It's just used for the draw event stuff. You go into variable definitions and you can add this extra stuff. I don't really get all this. They kind of seem like normal variables. I've never used it before, but it's interesting. You have to add color white and make it a color type. You have to add an intensity one, and I've named this, and you can set the values of it by clicking on the cogwheel. So intensity, use range 0 to 1, and then same thing with like wobble effect, real, use range 0 to 0.2. And basically by adjusting these little sliders and changing this color, this changes the color of the light. Changing the intensity is how much color is added into it, and how this is like how transparent it is. And the wobble is how much it has like a wobbling, flickering effect. And that's kind of how a light source works, and they're all like that. Just various versions of that. I just duplicated the object. For this one, I did some extra stuff. I made it's going to follow the player's X and Y, and then I increased the size of it because I thought it was a little too small. And then the image angle is based on the player's angle, and the step event, it's tracking all that stuff. The light source player circle, same kind of deal, only I made it 4 times as, or I made it a 4th the size for this one. And now we can see that. But this is the test room where these lights are placed. I just placed 2 of them in the room, and then I was editing the player light sources. And yeah, instead of editing in the object, you can just like open up the I don't know, double click on the damn thing, and then click on variables, and you can adjust these values right on the object through here. And I guess that's the benefit of doing the variables like this, is it's just easier to adjust them on the fly. So I set the player's light source, the flashlight, to a yellow. The intensity's at 0.8, which I found you have to put it up to like at least 0.7 before the color actually starts to show up, or it's just like really dull if it's any lower than that. And I put a very small amount of wobble on it because the wobble can be, it only goes to 0.2, but that's a lot. It causes like a lot of movement. So 0.1 seemed like just enough to give it a little bit of movement. Same thing with this one. And these light sources were just for seeing it. So let's test this. I need to go to initialize first. Go back to the test room. You missed the beginning of that, but the character does a little dive in. So the way this is working is we drew the big black box. It doesn't seem to work very well. And keep in mind, this is the shallows. This should never really be dark, I don't think. Or it's definitely never going to have this over top of a dark, because this is supposed to be light waves. It doesn't make sense to have it, so I have to remove that. But yeah, these are the light sources that I placed in the scene. And you can see anything else you can't even see. There's a small one around the player which like reveals stuff in that little area, and then the flashlight itself also reveals. So I'm thinking this is going to be how it kind of works when you go into darker areas. So you only be able to see in the direction you're facing, and then you got like a very little bit of light. I tried to get this to match, but I'm still working on what this is going to look like because it's still kind of weird. It definitely doesn't look right if you just have only the flashlight and there's nothing around the player. Like, you need something to still show the character. But if I make it yellow, it's, you see how like this yellow goes over top the player? It's just like, I have no way to draw it behind the player, at least not through the code. If it was behind the player, I don't think you'd be able to see the player because the black is also, would also be in front. So that's one of the things that I'm still working on. But the idea's here and it works pretty well, so you can kind of see how this is going to work. And I'm just kind of like trying to figure out what I want. This is what I was doing before I went to work. But I do like it. It's pretty cool. And it's super simple, like I showed, it's super simple to do this. I really thought it would be more difficult. I think just getting it to look the way I want is going to be the tricky part, but getting it to work, this is actually pretty simple. Pretty cool. So I want to get this to look better. And then I'll figure everything else out. So let's start by closing everything that isn't this. So I feel like ideally I'd want to combine these two together. And outside of like drawing a new sprite, which I might end up doing if I have to, I'm not sure how to do that. I might be able to just add parts of this code into here, and that might combine them, which is one idea to try. I think I am going to try that. Alright, so let's see how to do that. So this will be the same. But this only affects this object. Unless I do that and? I don't know if you can do that. They're using the same code. I really want to see... I'm just going to do a bunch of testing to see how this code works exactly. Because there are parts of it I don't understand. But can I do with this object? Or is this something that has to go in there? I really wonder if I can just say and this object. And there's no errors here. So I wonder if this will add, will do, I mean, it's the same code, right? Do it to both of them. Let's just see if that works. No, they both seem to be broken now. Yeah, no, they're broken. So you cannot do that. Oh man, my laundry machine's getting real loud. Yeah, it's picking up on the mic. I'm gonna mute the mic and be muted for a little bit. Yeah, so that's like what I was talking about before. Just doesn't seem to look right. Like the yellow's in the center, but the outside's still getting erased. But I think I need a more solid color for this sprite, or strange. And I don't know whether I would like it better one way around or the other. I think it looks better with the flashlight bit on top. But the yellow that's on the player just feels unnecessary. They don't combine very well in this area at all. That tells me I need to just draw a new sprite that's got a spot for the player as part of the sprite. That would fix that. But is it even worth it? I could do this, you know, put it somewhere that makes more sense, but it's just you can't see the player at all, which I don't like. I feel like you should at least be able to see a small circle around the player, right? Otherwise it's strange. Like you have no sense around you. I really think I might need to draw a new sprite. One that's got that little bit at the end so that you can at least see him in some way. I just want to play around with these colors a bit more. Like the main one we're going to be using is an orange. I think I'll need intensity higher than 0.1. It might have wobble on it, I'm not sure, but definitely like 0.1 is a lot. Let's see like what these values do. So we have orange, 0.1 intensity, 0.1 wobble. Look at how twitchy this is. I don't know if you see the screen turn, but I do. I don't know if that's just a VSync issue. Yeah, it looks like you don't see the VSync. The screen tearing really bad for me right here. But yeah, even a little bit of wobble goes a long way. And you can see there's zero orange in it. You can't even see the orange. So definitely, if we're gonna have wobble, that's no good. 0.01. Now we got to keep bumping the intensity. I'll go all the way up to 5, and I think you still won't see any of this orange color if I do this. Alright, so that wobble, a bit more natural. Even though, to be honest, I don't even think I like the wobble on this kind of thing. I think the wobble's really just for like natural flames. And this, I really don't even need it. But yeah, the orange that's in there is barely being drawn. So I'm going to go to 0.7. I'm going to turn this off. The 0.7s, I think, when the color actually starts showing up. As you see, a bit of that orange started to show up now. But the yellow being on top of it means that it's going to override it, whatever's there. Means we're going to get this weird artifacting in through here, where these two light sources kind of like overlap. Alright, let's bump this up to like all the way to 1. I think if it's at 1, it's going to completely obstruct what's underneath it, which is not good. Yeah, so this is what it looks like now, which is obviously not acceptable as a light source because you can't even see behind it. But at least it's orange. Honestly, I don't think this this lighting thing was meant to be used on anything that's completely black. This was the intended use, to where it's only a little bit darker. And then the orange kind of makes more sense. But you still got this area around it, which is lighter, even though it's not the same color. And there's no way to fix that. Because that's just how it is. My intent was to have it to where the lower you go on the screen, I'll just change this variable so that it gets, basically, the shadow should like never get dark. Maybe it gets dark at night because that makes sense, but I don't know. My idea was once you get into the sea, it starts to get kind of dark like it was there by the time you get to the bottom, and once you get into the deep sea, once it's getting like kind of dark, it'll eventually get pitch black once you get to the bottom of that one. So yeah, I was gonna do this kind of like as a shifting, and I was thinking of using a hue thing instead of going like black box. But it's looking like it's not gonna work regardless, because like any sort of color lights don't actually work that great in this with this system. I'm trying to think, maybe, I thought this would work. I just played around with it a bit this morning, and once I got it working, I had to take off, but it looked like it would work. But now I'm not too sure. I might have to go back to that other tutorial. Which is a shame, because I'm gonna have to figure something else to do for stream. Because I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think I can get it to work. If I want colors, which I do, I definitely want like the enemies that are orange to glow orange, like the meteorite fragments. And I want the player to have like a yellow headlamp. And then for like the world map, lighthouse is probably yellow or bluish color. The headlights are yellow. So getting the colors to work correctly is important. It's going to be a lot of work implementing all this stuff. But honestly, it's split up into different areas, right? Like this light render would just be for like stages, and then I'd do a separate one from the map, which has only got its stuff in it. Well, there's something else I thought about that I forgot to do. I didn't really give this chip a light. I don't know where the light source from this is going to come from. That's technically an antenna. I think we just pretend it doesn't matter and put just a circle around it. I don't know. I didn't think about that. It would have been nice if I drew a little lantern or something on it. Or a little spotlight. Because, yeah, this map's supposed to get dark as well. Okay, let's see if I can... I've got I got code for hue changing. Let's see if I can pull that in here. Because I want to see if that's a thing, too. Honestly, this code was made for Gazud, and it's for like coloring sprites. It wasn't really made for coloring backgrounds. I'm gonna have to go through this and like cut all the unnecessary stuff out of it. I don't want to do that for this stream. Alright, what else can we do? Well, there's shadows. Not exactly sure how I want to do that either. We can look at it though. Let's use the crab. So the thing with shadows, like I've done it. The ones on the world map are easy because they just assume that the shadow's always in a certain direction and it's the same shape as our sprite. But when they're on a 2D plane, it's a bit more confusing. You gotta like squish the image, and you gotta make it to where the image only draws on the ground, and it draws a different size based on how high your target is up from the ground. And I don't have a code for shadows. I haven't done shadows. Not like that. And it sounds really complicated too. I definitely need some sort of shader for squishing it, because I can't think of anything and I don't have anything saved. So we're really skipping over that too. We can look at doing stars. I've actually done something like this when I in Gazard, the selection target is a star like this. I didn't think about it until afterwards, but I'm wondering how I did it. I have no idea. I'd have to look that one up. Honestly, can I have it? I don't think I can just have it spin. Okay. With a W. One thing I can do is just make it fade in and out. I think another thing I could do is make it fade in and out, and then when it fades in again, it's facing like 45-degree angle, and it's a bit smaller. So it looks like the path of light keeps changing. Maybe that's an idea. Well, maybe it's just random what it comes back as. I don't think spinning's the correct choice. I don't really see spinning in any of these images of twinkling stars. Okay, let's try. Great, so what do we need to change? We need to change the angle, which can really just be image angle. And the alpha, I guess we don't even need to create event. My handwriting, my typing's really bad lately. A lot of errors. Maybe I should practice again. I guess I just need a step event. Maybe I need a variable for like a timer, probably. Actually, do I even need this? Alright, how am I going to do this? I need image alpha to increase from 0. Start off with needs to equal 0. And you switch. What do I call this? I couldn't think of anything. All right. Alright, so if Twink is on, we're going to lower the alpha, and if Twink is off, we're going to raise the alpha. So if it's above 1 or equal to 1, I'm going to switch it, which means it'll start lowering again. I don't even know what happens to image alpha if it goes below 0. Alright, now I've got something simple that's constantly pulsating on and off. That's a starting place. Does it equal true? If it starts at 0, I guess it equals false to begin with. And then if I want it to rotate, this is the part where I throw in zero or 45. So once it turns back off, image alpha equals 0, this will switch over, and then the image angle will possibly rotate 45 degrees. Oh, I guess if it equals 45 though, oh god, how do I do this? I'm thinking that the size of it needs to be smaller the next time around. If it's at a 45-degree angle. Probably a better way to do this. Because I'm also thinking that it needs to grow and shrink normally anyway. Which will be part of this. Let's just go ahead and split this up, make it easier to read. Okay, so now the image is growing and shrinking as well. Okay, so what I do here is say if image angle equals 45, and alright, that'll cap the image X scale at 0.5 for growing. Unfortunately, this will shrink it past or below if I do that. Let's not worry about that just yet. Let's just get the other part of it working. I might not even need to do that. Alright, well that should be the basics of it. See what that looks like. So we need to use test room. This thing doesn't even have like a skybox, does it? I don't have a night skybox yet either. Let's take this one, copy it. Night. I don't think these things have scripts, do they? No, they're blank. Good. Makes this easy. Okay, we've got a night sky now, which will match the new mood lighting. So this thing won't be at the right depth. I don't really care about that. Probably. Throw that right there. Also, I need to... I won't be able to see it as it is right now. I'm going to set this to equal 0 so we can actually see up there. That means when I do my lightbox later, I got to make sure that the sky is not included in this. Keep that in mind. That's going to make it even more challenging. I need to figure out how to get things to draw on top of this object. I really thought it was the depth of this object, but I don't think that changed anything. I tried changing the depth of this, and it was still on top, so it seems like it draws it to the top of the screen. Okay, this is what we got. There's our star. It's pretty big. I need to make it smaller than that. But it is kind of like growing and shrinking. Yeah, I think it would look better if that was smaller when it's rotated. I think the odds of it going diagonal should be less often. Alright, so probably like fourth the size. And then even smaller when rotated. I'm just gonna have to do some like clamping on this and think about it. Also, it might be growing too big now that I look at it, because it starts at 0, which means it's immediately growing to 2 instead of 1. So now if I change this to actually equal 0 at the start, it'll actually only be half the size as it should be. Let me just test that real quick, but I'm pretty sure that was one thing that was going wrong. Oh yeah, wow, the size is actually a lot better too. Maybe I'll just leave it at that. That actually looks about the right size. Yeah, I mean that's not too bad. If I sprinkle those along the sky, that looks pretty good. I think I would like to cut that in half though, if I can do it. Let's figure that problem out. Oh, I know how to do it. We just say, if it equals 0, grow by that much, else and that's half as much. So if I do that, this one, instead minus and minus. That should give me the effect I want. That's not a minus, I just press backspace. There we go. That should give me the effect I want. So if it's ever 45, it'll go by this. Oh, but this only affects Y scale. You need it to affect both of them. So let's fix that. Alright, test that. I think that'll be what we want. Kind of twitchy when it grows on the side there, isn't it? Which I guess is fine for a star. Alright, the only improvements I can think of, let's add another 0 in here so that it's less likely to be a diagonal. And I would like some randomness to this, because if I threw them all on the scene right now, they're all going to animate at the same level. So what I need to do is have all these values equal the same thing, but randomly. So I got to set a new variable, I think. Start equals this random range is fine. Right, so now a random range from 0 to 1 is where it starts. And as long as they're all even, they'll still have the same effect. They'll just all be different. So if I throw a whole bunch of these in the room, they should each have different rhythms. And I'll just place them randomly above that area at night. So there'll be some variance. could even add like a bit of offset. Now, I was thinking maybe have them have a different angle to start with, but I guess it'll always look better if it's perfect up, down, left, right on one of them, the main one. That looks okay. It's just a little bit of movement to the night sky. And we'll still have like birds and clouds up there, probably. Alright, I'm happy with that, I guess. And in fact, I think this object itself would be the best thing to draw its own stars. Did I figure that out later or do that now? I could also just do it in the spawner, the room spawner. But if you create a day, I mean, clouds will come whether it's day or night. Birds will come whether it's day or night, but stars only come out at night. Makes me think it definitely should be part of this creation event. I think 240 should be fine. And what depth star should be at? Star should be oh, 198. I already planned that one out. Cool. That's right, that's behind clouds, but in front of the sky. Alright, so repeat 20 times. If choose equal, if 50% chance. Instance create depth, random range, 0 to room width, 0 to 240. At this depth, create a star. Close that. Close this. Back to the test room. And all these stars are placed and delete them. One unfortunate side of this is at 0 depth. So we set this to set its depth equal to what it's supposed to be at. It's a temporary fix. Now let's test. What's going on here? I can kind of see it there. Is the depth just wrong in this room? Probably. Yeah, 199 on whatever this is. Oh, I do have a skybox in here. That would be it. There we go. We have a night sky, randomly spawning stars. Give it a little movement. Looks pretty good. One thing I think is maybe I should vary the size of the stars as well. It's fine. Alright, that star's done. Damn. Honestly, this wasn't ready to stream yet because everything I got to do is stuff that I need to just look up videos for. The dynamic lighting I don't think is going to work, so I gotta go back to that more difficult one. I gotta figure out how to do shadows on a 2D plane. There'll definitely be a video that does like an easy shadow thing. I need to import my old hue shader and adjust it to work for backgrounds. Then we need to do the alien. So that's something I could work on now, I just don't want to do that yet. There's still particles, which I need to look up tutorials on particles, because I haven't done that in forever. There's the anchor and chain, but the chain is another tutorial, like making a rope. That's something I need to look up. So honestly, I think my next couple days are just going to be me looking at a lot of tutorial videos and Googling and trying to get this dynamic lighting stuff and all this crap done. And I probably won't stream again until I have it all done. Probably when I get to doing, I'm gonna move the alien down. It'll be one of the last things I do. What button did I press to do whatever the hell I just did? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna move alien down. So hopefully I get all this stuff done. The dynamic lighting. I'm gonna make the different creatures that are supposed to light up light. And get the player lamp working. Get the world map properly transitioning from day to night. All the lights that are on the world map need to be working. I need to get shadows working for like the crab or the player. If they get close to the ground, I want them to cast a shadow. There's the stages have to be set up where they go from a day to a night. Though that one will be a lot easier because just depending on what time of day it is on the world map is what the stage is when you go into it. It's just making a slight variance depending on whether it's day and night when you enter a stage. Yeah, I'll probably just make the underwater get even darker at night. Does that make sense? And the particles, I'll figure that out. I might stream after I do particles or something to show everything. Because that would be a good point to show stuff. Then I gotta do the oxygen meter, and the anchor, and the chain. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put off streaming until I get to the alien step. And then I can show all that stuff off and how I did it. What I ended up going with. And what I did to adjust it so it works for my game. And we'll do like alien and just general balancing stuff on the next stream. And then after that, move on to like UI and cutscenes, some more artwork. And after that, audio. That'll be fun. I actually kind of look forward to audio. Just because it's something new that I haven't really messed with much. And I like the challenge of new stuff. It's easy to get motivated to do something new for me. So that's what I'm going to be working on for the next week or two. Who knows how long it'll take me to do all that. I mean, I knocked out a lot of stuff in 2 days. So once I find out like the correct dynamic lighting code, I'll probably cruise through most of this pretty quickly, I hope. But yeah, this is going to be a short stream. Honestly, it was just me showing off a lot of the stuff that I did, which is kind of good, because then the next stream I won't just be dumping a whole lot of stuff. I'm skipping that much, but yeah, that and doing those stars, which was pretty simple. I think that's it. Yeah, probably won't stream for a couple days while I figure all this out, but I'll definitely show what I ended up doing, just like this. I'll show what I ended up going with and how I made it work. So at least I got that much. Alright, whatever, I'm stalling. Later.